Hi, I'm Rebecca and welcome to episode 15 of the Creabea Knitting podcast. Hello and welcome. I'm Rebecca, I am a knitter and I'm coming to you this morning from a very grey and overcast Edinburgh. And this is a podcast all about knitting, what I'm currently knitting on, what I've been knitting on, and what I'd like to be knitting on in the not too distant future. And usually there's some yarny goodness. There's not really any yarny goodness this episode, but there's a possibility that the post will arrive whilst I'm filming this episode, and if the post arrives whilst filming, I might have some yarny goodness by the end of the episode. So let's see if my postie shows up whilst filming. Today we have a finished object and 5 works in progress and a little bit of non-yarn, still crafty related acquisitions. If you are new, hello and welcome. I hope you enjoy, and if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. And yeah, I'm looking forward to keeping you company, whether you're doing some crafting or I watch podcasts everywhere. Like sometimes I watch them whilst I'm working, and sometimes I watch them whilst I'm doing the dishes, and sometimes I watch them whilst I'm in the bath. So if you're doing any of those things, I'm very happy to keep you company whilst you do them. Let's jump in with what I'm wearing today. So this is a no frills sweater. If you are a returning viewer, you will know that I am a huge fan of this pattern. I will say, like, there's nothing special about the pattern. It's a top-down raglan with short row shaping. I think I just love the simplicity of a top-down raglan. And I have this pattern, so I've made it 3 times. This is the 3rd one. And I was just thinking, I've worn all 3 of my no frill sweaters this week, so they get a lot of wear. This is my most recent one. It is knit in, get this right, Rico Essentials Superba Luxury Alpaca Sock. It's like practically a whole sentence for a yarn name. It is an alpaca sock yarn. I originally bought 1 skein of this to make socks. It's a DK weight yarn to make some socks, and then I loved it so much that I decided I needed a sweater out of it because it was just so soft and squishy. And so I ordered three more skeins, and then I only used 3 skeins, so I still have a skein left to make socks at some point. This is the silver grey or silver colourway, I think it's called. It's a really, really pale dove grey, so a little bit tonal. I hope it picks it up, maybe. It's very, very soft and very, very cozy. Like I say, I used 3 skeins of yarn for this, and I noticed, I think this yarn is quite hard to come by. I don't know if it's been discontinued or I don't know what it is, but it's quite hard to come by. However, there's a Regia alpaca sock yarn, which is exactly the same yardage and exactly the same meterage. I think it's just called like Regia alpaca sock. And it's pretty much the same price. So, and it comes in like 10 colours. So, yeah, if I was to use this again, I would probably just get the Regia one because I think it's the same yarn. There are 2 things about this which I don't love. I always start getting these weird hiccups as soon as I start podcasting. The first is the sleeve length. Now, I think the sleeves are like a perfect length. And when I was trying them on, that's what I thought too. But I often find myself flipping this cuff up, which I don't do on my other 2 versions, which have shorter sleeves. So, I mean, that's just a bit silly. Like, there's no need to do this, but I find myself doing it anyway. I think the problem is that I think, oh, should I make the sleeve shorter? And then I try it on and I'm like, no, that there's nothing wrong with the sleeve. So then I don't go back and edit it or like go back and rip it out. But then I start wearing it again and I roll the sleeves up. So there's something just a little bit, like, I honestly think maybe it's 3 rows. Like, it's not a big difference, but something I'll bear in mind for when I'm making more, because I definitely will make more of these. It's just that sleeve length. And the second thing is just yarn pills like crazy. Now, soft yarns and soft fibres pill, so I kind of don't mind so much, but it really, really, really pills a lot. And I find that it makes it look quite scruffy quite quickly. I pulled this out this morning to wear for the podcast because it's so cozy and it's such a grey day, and I thought, yes, I'll wear this one today, but I thought I have to depill this before I wear this because I just feel messy when I'm wearing it when it's so pilled. So I took the razor to it. I just use a disposable plastic razor I've used the same one for like a year, and I just keep it on a shelf in my wardrobe so that I know it's not to be used for anything else, and I just use that to depill. And today, like, it was basically the size of like a hamster. Like, it could have been a hamster when I took off the sweater. There was so much fluff, and it's done mostly the job, but you can still, I was showing it earlier and I noticed like there are still some pills here, so it's not perfect, but it's cleaned up a lot. It really has. So I think that would potentially, if I compare it to my previous version, my second one, which is in woolly knit merino, I've worn that one 10 times as often, and I've depilled it once. And I actually pulled it out last night to measure the sleeves for another pattern, another project, and I thought, God, this looks like brand new. So I do think that, yeah, I do love this yarn, but I don't know if I jump to use it again just because of the pilling. But it's super cozy, and it's a real, like, it feels like a real sweater, and I don't know, I just feel like really cozy in it. So that's what I'm wearing. Let's jump in to finished objects. Interestingly, the object which I thought would be finished this week or this podcast was going to be the first sweater. In actual fact, I've not touched it for 2 weeks. The second sleeve hasn't even been picked up. So instead, still a little bit damp actually, what we have to show is on and off the needles in no time because it's so small. Oh my god, baby knits are literally amazing. I love baby knits so much, they're so fun. Firstly, 2 episodes ago I had a baby knit cardigan to show and I was freaking out about the sizing, and everyone left me amazing comments, so thank you, because that gave me so much more confidence to pick up the second baby knit project. When I was knitting that cardigan, I was out with my mum for a day. It was the day we went to the new Lanark mill, and I took the cardigan in the car. That was my car knitting that day, and she was like, oh, such and such is having a baby, and I was like, are they? And she was like, so if you feel like making something. I was like, okay, sure. And then I put it out of my mind. Well, then I ordered the yarn. Oh, I actually have some of it. I ordered the yarn and it wasn't the colour I was hoping for. So it kind of put me off it, and I didn't pick it up for a while. And then I picked it up and I was like, this is amazing. And I knit on it solid for 3 days until it was finished. So let me talk about the yarn. The reason I didn't love it is, has it got the colourway on this? Yeah, so I guess it kind of is. Okay, this yarn is 100% superwash wool from King Cole. It's their Merino blend DK. It's labelled anti-tickle, which I didn't actually know, and it's a superwash wool. This is given as a gift to someone I don't know. Like, I think they're a distant cousin. I think it's like my stepdad's niece having a baby. I'm not really sure. But I don't know them, and I don't know how they are with like wool, and I didn't want to give them anything 100% wool, so I went looking for this. In retrospect, I probably should have made it acrylic, and I don't really know why I didn't make it acrylic, but I did it in superwash wool. So I might just have to pop in a little tag. I noticed that the yarn actually, the label actually comes with some instructions, and I wonder if I could just write that out. It basically just means 30 degrees and dry flat. I think that's about it, right? So I should be fine. The reason this put me off is because this colour was labelled sage, and I know holding this up this looks sage, and actually to my eyes it looks sage, but there's something limey about it. Like, there's something just a bit too citrusy and not quite bluey enough, and it completely put me off. I just didn't want to work with it. It's so silly because it is a hint of difference to what I wanted. But I saw it and it arrived and I was like, ugh. And I put it down and didn't touch it for 3 weeks. And then, I don't know what, I had like castanitis, and I knew there was a theoretical deadline for this. I mean, the baby is due in May, so I was like, yeah, it has to get done by then. So I decided to power through and try and get it finished. Unfortunately, actually, my mum let me know that there's a baby shower on Saturday, which I'm not going to. That's how well I know the baby or the mother to be. My mum is going. So I said to her, well, let me power through and see if I can get it finished. So I need to pop it on the post today to go out. So that's about the yarn. Oh, and the contrast is Drops Charisma, which I used to make the test knit of the school run headband by lovely Laura of Penrose Knits. And I had some left over, and so I just used this as scraps, and it's a little contrast. It's for a baby boy. Not that I really believe in colours lining up to genders, but I know some parents do, so I thought it was quite a good colour. I showed this to my boyfriend before I blocked it, and I was like, look at it, it's so cute. And he's like, you're gonna have to block that quite a lot to make it fit you. And I was like, you're so funny. So the pattern for this is the Festival Sweater by Petite Knit. I have this pattern in adult size and I fully intend to make it for myself. I have the yarn I'm going to make it in and everything. And I will say, after finishing this, I'm much more excited about knitting. Like, I was kind of indifferent, like, I'll knit it at some point. I want to cast another one because it was so much fun. So I knew this one. I knew I was going to make this. I actually wasn't going to at first. I don't know what I was going to make. And my mum was expecting a cardigan. Like, she asked me for a cardigan. But I'm the knitter, so I'll make what I want to make. The pattern is children's size. So it doesn't actually... I think the smallest size is 1 to 2 years. And I just wasn't... I didn't really pay attention when I downloaded the pattern. So I didn't really realise the sizing. And then... yeah, I just didn't really, like, I wasn't really paying attention. And then I cast on for the smaller size, which is the 1 to 2 years. And it was getting pretty big, like, as I was knitting, and I didn't have enough yarn. Like, the yarn amount I had wasn't enough for the pattern. So I was kind of like, what do I do? And then I got very, very lucky. And I'm going to try to explain this without confusing everyone, because it made a lot of sense in my brain, and I'm not sure if I can communicate in a sensible way. So I downloaded the Flax pattern by Tin Can Knits, which is a free pattern for a raglan sweater for like 1,000 sizes. It's from, I think, a baby 0 to 6 months up until a men's 4XL. And I say it's a free pattern, and something which I've come to appreciate because I've got another Tin Can Knits on the needles is they're schematic. So they draw a schematic and they have the various sizes drawn on. So there's like a body, there's the length of the body, there's the round, like the circumference, there's the sleeve, there's the yoke depth. All of that is measured and noted down per size. So I went to the Flax pattern and decided I would work on the 6 to 12 month chart, like their sizing. So I thought, well, I've got the size it needs to be, and I've got my gauge, and I've got my pattern I'm working to. Let's work this out. And I started trying to do this just after this second, I'd done this second bobble row. So I was like here. So I was still in the yoke, but I thought I'll work this out. So I knew the size I needed the body to be. It worked out so well. It was luck. I knew my gauge was like 20 stitches, which is slightly off, I think, from the Petite Knit pattern. My gauge was 20 stitches per 10 centimetres. And I knew I needed, I think, 108 stitches for the body, or approximately 108 stitches for the body, to make enough fabric for the 6 to 12 month size of flax. And at this point in time, I had 196 stitches on my needles. And it was pure luck because I calculated the ratio in the Petite Knit pattern of sleeves to arm when they divide for sleeves. And then it was something like 70%. It wasn't quite, it was like 77%. So at that point, 70, if there were 100 stitches on the front and there'd be 77 on the stitch, on the sleeve, on the 77 on the sleeve. So I had that number, and then I just plugged in a random number. So I plugged in 50, and I was like, okay, there's 50 on the body, how much is there on the sleeve? And it was 38, and 50 and 50 and 38 and 38 made 196 stitches, which is exactly what I had in on my needles at the time. And if I cast on 4 stitches under each arm, I'd have 108 stitches around the body, which would be perfect to meet the flax size. It was luck, it was pure luck. But I will make a note of this, because I will definitely make these again for future children who in my life who need, you know, if I've got gift knitting to do and stuff. I will definitely make one of these again. And so I'm going to make a note of this on Ravelry, because I just, it worked out perfect. It just, ding, 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 hit all the, like, it was great. So we made it quite a bit smaller than the Petite knit one. So I guess this is the 0 to 6 month size compared to the Petite knit, which is a larger size. Otherwise, I mean, the only thing I really followed other than that, I did follow the increases for the first and second, and then stopped after the first and second set of increases. I think there were 2 more sets of increases in their pattern. And then I just knit the rest like normal. This stitch is so much fun to knit. They're bobbles, so you do a round where you're creating all the stitches to make the bubbles, and then you work a wrong side row where you knit all those stitches together. It's not super neat in the back where it's actually not that bad. You can kind of see the beginning of round. Yeah, you definitely can, but I don't care so much. And there's some short row shaping in the back neck, and all in all, this was off the needles. I think I started it on Monday. Yeah, Bank Holiday Monday, maybe Sunday, and I finished it yesterday. The sleeves took like an hour each. Not quite, but like maybe 2 hours each. And I have 9 rows between each set of bobbles. And yeah, I love it. I will completely knit this again. I think it's a real, I think it's something different and quite interesting, but still quite fashionable. And I think like a new mum would be quite happy to get something this chic. I will say there's a tiny hole under the arm that I've not managed to sew up particularly well, but I don't really care so much. It's not my baby. So yes, my goal is to wrap this up, send it to my mum today, and she can take it to the baby shower. If I post it first class today, what is today? Thursday. Yeah, it should arrive to her by tomorrow morning. Oh, or maybe even Saturday morning, in time for her to go to the baby shower. So that's my one and only finished object, and apologies if that was very technical or didn't make any sense. But I was really impressed with my maths to make that work. So, let's jump into my works in progress. I have 5, and there's a couple that I've not worked on at all since last time. So last time I showed a blanket, nothing at all, and I also showed the first sweater, and again, nothing at all, because this gift knitting and another gift knitting took up a lot of my time, and I cast on something new, because of course I did. So let's talk about this one first. This is not a new cast on. This is the Sunday sweater by Petite Knit. Yeah, there's definitely a Petite Knit theme. Basically everything today is Tin Can Knits or Petite Knit. Or me. So this is the Sunday sweater by Petite Knit. It is a round yoke design, and what I love about this is, I mean, the gauge is great. It's on 7mm needles and knits up really quickly. I mentioned last time that I bought a whole... Oh, the reason I stopped knitting is because I ran out of yarn. Did I? Oh no, I didn't. It's here. I almost ran out of yarn. This is Drops Melody, and I ordered this for a project and then didn't like the project, didn't like working with yarn, and it stayed in stash for ages, and I wanted to get rid of it. Like, I just wanted to knit it up and not have to think about this yarn anymore. So I'm pairing it with, and I was back and forward for ages at what pattern to make, and this one, there were a lot, like when I looked at the yarn, I do this quite often, I went to the yarn on Ravelry and looked at projects made and filtered it by garment or by sweater, and this pattern came up a lot. There were quite a few people who made this sweater, so I thought, fine, I'll do it. So I'm pairing it with Drops Flora, which is a 4-ply. I can't remember the makeup of this, but it's maybe 35 Alpaca 65 wool. It's the one that, they've got one that leans more to alpaca and one that leans more to wool, and this one I think leans more to wool. It's lovely, it's really nice and soft, and they're a pretty good match. And I was just hoping this would give the, this is a very, very fluffy, I think it's alpaca wool fibre. So I thought the two together would add some structure. Last time I was just about to finish the yoke. The only work I've done on this is I took it to the cinema and did a lot of work on the body. And I've not even taken out the project bag since I went to the cinema. But this is the, yeah, I stopped because I actually thought I was quite far in the body, and I'm looking at it now thinking maybe I'm not. And I'll do some measuring maybe this weekend and work out how much more I've got to go. It's a really interesting yoke. It's like this kind of sunburst, starburst thing where you knit and purl, and then you increase on the knits and then you increase on the purls to make it like evenly spread out, which I really like. And all in all, I think I said this last time, I'm not crazy excited about this pattern. I'm not like, oh my god, I can't wait to wear it, but I'm looking forward to getting this yarn out of stash, and I think I will wear this sweater a lot. It's kind of turning, like the weather's kind of turning a little bit darker and a bit colder for a few weeks, and if I can get this done, I think like today would be a perfect day to wear this sweater. I just not finished it yet. So maybe I can get the body done this week. I think there's a possibility of us going to the cinema again. This is perfect cinema knitting because it's round and round. And the sleeves in the pattern, you increase to make like a bell sleeve. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to knit a straight sleeve and then rapid decrease in the last round and then do the ribbing. So it's kind of like a balloon cuff, but not like a bishop sleeve, just a balloon or just like a little puff. So if I can get this finished, maybe I should prioritise getting the body done on this so that I can take it to the cinema again this weekend. So that I can get this finished and wear it whilst it's still temperature where I could wear it. And yeah, it's incredibly soft. It is so soft. There's not even an ounce of itch on this. And yeah, I don't have any issue with the Drops Melody. It's really well priced, but I just find it really hard to use. Like I just couldn't, it took me so long to find anything. And even then, I wouldn't say this is like a passion project. It's just like, I'm looking forward to getting it used up. The other thing, and I don't know if I mentioned this last time, I feel like I didn't, but I meant to, is that the neckband, it's a folded over neck, which I quite like. And there are two options in the pattern. You can, when you do a folded over neckline, what you can do is that you knit, how do I describe this? You knit the stitch, like you fold it over and then you knit those two stitches together. So the folded edge and your live stitch, you knit them both together and that like attaches them and it creates like a seam that you can see where you've picked up those stitches. Alternatively, you can fold it over and sew it up, and I always do this because I find it so much easier. And especially with yarn like this, like I just then use one strand of the Flora and just did a mattress stitch around it, and I find like you can still see I've put pins in. I put pins in and like pinned the two layers together, and I thought that was perfect. But it has meant that there's not that like firm seam at the edge of the neckband, so the neckband kind of melts into the sweater. And I don't know if I like that or not. I'm not really sure. But I'm not going back to fix it now. And I think knitting two together, like picking up the stitches in this fabric would be a nightmare. One of the things I was really looking for when I knit this was something top down and seamless and no picking up stitches, because it's just so hard to see this yarn. Like unless the stitch is on my needle, I can't see the yarn. I don't know why it's so hard, just because it's so fluffy. So yeah, so it's not had a lot of love other than the cinema in the past 2 weeks. I don't know how much love it's going to get in the next 2 weeks, but maybe this weekend, if I can power through and get the body done. It's on 7mm needles. I should be able to get that done in like a few hours. Then hopefully I can get this done. So that's my first work in progress. Okay, I'm showing you them in like order of how much love and appreciation I've had over the last 2 weeks. Let me show you my second one. I'm very excited about this one, but I will say it's not had love in a week because I'm on a bit of a deadline with other knits. So last time I mentioned that I have started designing a pattern. I'm really excited about it. It's very, very much like a learning process. I want to see what the designing process is like, and I'd love to understand what the workload and the process that goes into designing a pattern. Yeah, so it's primarily experimental, and let's see how this goes and see if I like it and see what it's like. I think in the first few weeks I was getting putting a lot of pressure on myself, like get it ready, get it written up. And then other things have taken, like I had this gift knit for the baby gift, and I've got another gift knit which is taking a lot of time, and so this I've kind of relaxed on. And I thought also, like, I'm quite happy if this is a pattern which, like, my timeline for this now is like autumn. And once I agreed on that in my brain, I felt so much more relaxed, and I'm just really enjoying knitting on it. So I've not picked it up all this week. I took it last week to see my grandmother. I went to visit her, and it was like a 2.5 hour journey either way. So there was lots of knitting time. So it got quite a lot of love then. And also I wanted to say, I got a few really, really lovely messages. People, when I talked about it, I think I was maybe a bit uncertain about, like, does the world need another pattern designer? And also, I think there are a lot of people who like start a podcast or like pick up knitting in lockdown, and then like 6 months later, like, I'm gonna start designing. And so many times that makes me roll my eyes, like, give it a break. But I was being that person. But yeah, I don't really have any intentions of being a full-time designer, but I am very excited about this process, and I'm really, really excited about this garment. There's going to be a short sleeve version, and my plan is to knit this one up, write it up, and then whilst the test knit is happening, knit the second version for myself in short sleeves, and I'm already excited about that one. So last time it was barely a bodice, and let me show you. I'm trying to see my swatches around because my swatch is quite handy. No, I can't see it. Okay. So this is the body. It's folded in half. It is a cardigan, and this is top bottom up. So I'm almost ready. Probably only a little bit longer, and then I'm ready to split for sleeves, like cast off under the arm, and then knit the front panels and the back panels separately. It's a beautiful, like, the stitch. I love the stitch. It's on 3.5mm needles, and it's like a 24 stitch gauge, so it's quite a tight gauge. But I just love the stitch. I'll try and hold it up because it will block out quite a lot. It's these little baby cables and this lace panel that kind of makes like not quite a stripe, but like yeah, you know. So yeah, I've had so much fun knitting on this. So this is where we're at. It's a bit vintage inspired. I like a lot of timeless pieces. I sew a lot as well, and I find myself like not particularly sewing like the trends, but sewing things that I think I'll be able to wear again like all the time. So a lot of things like wrap dresses, and yeah, like I really feel the same about a lot of my knitwear. I do sometimes give into the trends, and I tend to find those are the knits I wear the least. But I do really like timeless pieces, and the idea of this is like a very dainty and feminine cardigan. I'd love to have some button up to the neck, and it's going to be kind of flirty because it's a little bit lacy, and yeah, I'm really excited. I love this yarn, and it's kind of like a 4-stitch repeat right now, which is pretty easy. So there's like every single right side row is a lace, and every 4th row is a cable. I've not touched it in a few days, and I'm holding it up now thinking I want to knit on this right this second. So this is the Cathy. It looks huge, and that's the other thing. I think with the short sleeve one, I'll knit the size down. My gauge is bang on. I don't know why I think it feels quite big, but that's okay. So it will, get myself so tangled. It'll kind of look like this, and it'll be a button band. And I think it'll just be so nice, like tucked into a skirt or tucked into like a pair of jeans. Yeah, I'm just so excited for this. I'm just really, really excited for it. This is called the Cathy Cardi. Cathy is the name of my grandmother, who has not been around for a long time. Unfortunately, she passed away before I was still in primary school, and it was before I really came into my crafting. But I just know, like, she would learn how to make YouTube work just to watch this podcast if she could, because she had this craft cupboard in her house, and I thought this was like the peak adulting is if you have a craft cupboard. I now obviously have a whole room basically that's like half an office, half my craft stuff, and I have yarn exploding out of every orifice of the house, so I know she'd love that. So it felt only right to give this nod to her. So yeah, this is a Cathy Cardi. Hopefully by next time I'll have split for sleeves. Yeah, I think that's about it. I think that's everything to say about it. Oh no, of course not, the yarn. The yarn is fingering and mohair held together. I just think this is very out of my wheelhouse, this colour. I don't knit with this colour ever. But I do really enjoy these together. This is Filcolana Arwetta, which is superwash sock yarn. I love Filcolana. Well, this is Filcolana Tilia, which is their mohair. And Tilia, I think, is my favourite mohair. I've used it a lot. I talk about it a lot. I think it's pretty much my favourite. But what was I going to say? Oh, but so when I found this one, I wanted to use this, and I just went with Arwetta because it was the easiest way to match the colours. But I think when it comes to the short sleeve version, I'm going to do that one in white, and I think I'll try it in a different yarn so that at least then I know what it's like to knit with, like to make sure it works in different yarns. But yeah, it's this beautiful, glorious periwinkle colour, and it's just looking so good. I'm saying I want it in autumn, but now I want to wear this like next week. So maybe I'll have to expedite that again. So yeah, that's my Cathy Cardi. Progress pending, pattern pending. Oh, and some people messaged me and were like, I'll test it this as soon as it's out. So that was amazing. I'm really glad that someone else is doing that. And I've already, I reached out to a tech editor and just said, what would you need? What's the process like? So that at least I can make sure I'm making the right notes and doing the process in the right way. And yeah, it's just a really good itch to scratch. I feel like I'm learning and it's challenging my brain, and it's something I'm excited about in the longer term. So yeah, that's my second whip. I've got 3 more, but I just got a message from my boyfriend saying, tell me when it's safe to come and get a snack. So I'm going to pause, let him come and get a snack, and then go on with the next 3 whips. Okay, boyfriend has been fed and watered. So let's move on to my next few whips. Okay, let me show the big one, the big boy, and then there's the 2 new ones. That's probably a good way to do it. So, gift knitting. This has been on the podcast a few times now, but no surprises because it's still a work in progress. I am knitting a sweater. Again, if you've been here before, you've heard this 10 times, but if you're not, I will do a recap. I'm knitting a sweater for my stepdad's 50th birthday. I offered to do this last year, and I was like, just what would you like? Would you like cables, or would you like Colorwork, or I just said, just you decide what kind of sweater you want and I'll make it for you. And he wanted an all over Colorwork sweater. Of course he did. I don't think he really registered that would be more work, but to be honest, I think any I think it's a men's large, it's a 46-inch chest I'm knitting. Any sweater of that size is going to be a pretty hefty workload. Colorwork just, doesn't necessarily make it all that much more. So the birthday is in 3 weeks. However, we are going on holiday for a week to Greece. It was booked very spontaneously last weekend, and we thought, it was funny actually, we were looking at booking a few days away somewhere in Scotland, and I made an offhand comment and said, we could go to Greece for a week for half the price. And then we're like, should we just go to Greece? And then we booked flights to Greece. So on that note, the next episode of the podcast will be 3 weeks from today, because I pretty much consistently film every second Thursday, and that has somehow always worked. With everything else for the past 6 months, that's always managed to work out quite well. But alas, it's going to be in 3 weeks time, because this time in 2 weeks I will be in Greece, which I'm really excited about. I'm digressing, but I've not been to Greece. I've not been on holiday for years and years, and I've not been abroad for just over 2 years now. So all that's very exciting. But that to say, it means I have 1 week less because the birthday is the week after we get back from Greece. And so I need to get this finished by the time we go to Greece, which is in less than 2 weeks. Maybe I'm not going to get this done in time. Like, maybe it's not going to get done. We'll see, we'll see, we'll see. So I finished the body. Oh, I'm just attached by so many yarns. Oh, let me just make sure I'm not dropping stitches before I pull this up. Just do a quick untangle. The ribbing is flipping up. It needs blocked. It's really annoying. Can you believe this? I can't really believe this. So I'll pop in a picture of it as well, because I know holding it up doesn't really give it justice. I took a good picture of it without the sleeves. I've picked up a sleeve now, but I took a good picture without the sleeve done. So this is, let me run through it. It is the Strange Brew sweater by Tin Can Knits, which is an amazing sweater. It's very clever. It has 3 gauges, all the sizes, and it just really is kind of like an instruction booklet. After the last episode, I said I don't have the ebook, I just have the pattern. Somebody gifted me the ebook, so thank you very much for that. I will definitely make this pattern again in the future. It feels like it feels like an instruction manual, and so what I found difficult with this was finding the right motifs to go in it, and the ebook has them all, so I'm ready, basically set for the next one. So a huge thank you for that ebook. It was so nice. I was like, wait, what? This is amazing. So it's the Strange Brew pattern. However, the motif on here is from the Marit cardigan, which is a cardigan which came from the Lina magazine book quite a long time ago. It's like issue 7, so I think it's really quite an old pattern. So this like 4 stitch repeat, so this 4 motif repeat is like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's from Lina. I started out with, well, I was aiming to be on 21 stitch gauge. I'm on 19 stitch gauge. So my gauge changed a lot. It really loosened up with Colorwork. I've gone down to a 3.5mm needle and I'm still on 19 stitches. So I just, as I was going, like reworked the pattern a little bit to make sure that I didn't have too many stitches, and I omitted the last round of increases, which would happen just before I split for sleeves. And it's bang on for 46 inches. It needs blocked out like a tiny fraction, like I think, but not much. And I think that's good because I'm going to need to do some good blocking on this anyway. You can see the tension is pretty even, but I do think blocking will, like, there's not any significant puckering, but I think it'll just really even out with blocking. I showed my floats last time, I wish them again. I've had a few people message me about this. Like, I really didn't, like, Colorwork did not click for me when I first started knitting. We talked about this at knit night actually, and we talked about how I think when you start Colorwork, you just kind of like, oh, try Colorwork hats because it's a smaller project, but actually knitting small circumferences is actually really hard to do Colorwork, and often just diving straight in with a Colorwork yoke is the way to go. I've made 2 Colorwork projects before this, both of them are the same pattern. It's the Maya cardigan by Yarbo. I made them both in like December of last year, so this is really my first big jump, I think, into Colorwork. That was like just a yoke, and this is like a full sweater, and this is what the inside looks like. It is incredibly even. That's not me boasting. I mean, it kind of is me boasting. But this is just practice. Like, this is not, like, I didn't change anything. I really remember when I started, sorry, that side. I remember when I started thinking, like, Colorwork is just going to be the thing I'm not going to get. Like, cables make so much sense to me. Texture, I love. Colorwork is not, I'm not going to crack it. And something's cracked. Like, something switched in my head. There are a lot of ends to weave in. I've got the yoke ends are at the back, and then I moved the beginning of around to under the arm. So they're all like tied up into little nubbins so that I can come back and weave them all in. So I just had the sleeves to do. I need to do a bit of calculation. I did already a bit of calculation in that somebody left such a good comment oh, I've got all those dust in my nose now. An incredibly good comment about putting in a sleeve gusset. Like, I thought I had too much fabric, I could do a gusset under the sleeve, and that was amazing. And I looked into that and I was really going to go with that method, but ultimately I just did some rapid decreasing under the sleeve to get myself to enough stitches where, let me explain this, it's a 16 stitch repeat, 16 stitch, yeah, but for example, like here to here is a repeat. So every 16 stitch repeat is actually just 2 8 stitches, with the exception of this one, which is obviously 2 different things. But this and this and this are all, you can divide them in the middle and they're exactly the same. And I was starting under the sleeve with this motif. So I've just started with 8 stitches, which got me down to like the perfect size. And I did very similarly to the baby knit, just worked out my, just looked at what, again, it tells you the upper arm measurements. So that's what I did. I have started this, however, I have misplaced, I have somewhere a 3.5mm fixed circular needle, and I can't find it. Like, it's not, I don't know where it's gone. I can't find it anywhere. I've not lost any other needles, so it's not like there's a whole host of needles somewhere that I can't find. It's just this one needle. I cannot find where it's gone. So I ordered some new ones, which I think was a good thing, because I ordered some metal ones, metal shorties, and they'll be good for that, and they'll also be good for my Cathy Cardi sleeves, because that's also in 3.5mm. So yeah, I've ordered some shorties, which I'm hoping will arrive today, because I need to get the sleeve turned out pretty quickly. Ideally, I'd like to get the sleeve done this weekend, and then next week I'll have a handful of days to get the second sleeve done. My real goal with this, and to be honest, it's not really a disaster. When we get back from Greece, there are 3 days when we get back from Greece to when the birthday is. Yeah, 3 days. So if there's a little bit left to do, I could do it then. Like, I could still have like a whole knitting day and I could still block it, but my ideal situation is that I'd love to get this done, washed, and then leave it blocking whilst we're away, and when I come back sew in all the loose ends. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping, but that is like 10 days away, not even 10 days, less than a week, to do 2 sleeves in full Colorwork, and they're men's length, so we'll see how I get on with it. I'm having a lot of fun with this. I don't love this motif but I love this one, and I quite like this one. These are both very intuitive, this one especially, and this one I have to follow the pattern, but it's not like, it's only what, 10 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 rows. So yeah, I will definitely make the cardigan, 100% make the cardigan, and I might do it at DK gauge. I calculated a while ago that if I knit the smallest size at 21 or a DK weight, it would fit. So I think I'll do that maybe in the autumn. Oh, and the last thing is the yarn. I am using Woolly Knit yarns. I was originally planning to do it all in their Diggle DK, but I didn't like the colours that I first ordered for it, so I ended up holding 2 strands together of the British wool. This is Celtic green. I didn't know I started new. Maybe I didn't. And this is cinnamon. These are each 100 gram. These were each 100 gram balls, and as you can see, I've done the sleeve and I've used quite a lot of the green and really not very much at all of this. And also of the, I still have a lot of the neutral. This one. This is Diggle DK in the colour Rustic, and I think I had 14 skeins. I had 14 skeins. I'm trying to work out if I've got a ball band close by, and I don't think I do. I had one really recently. Anyway, oh, maybe it's in the bag. It's in the bag. Yeah, so I had 14 50 gram skeins, and they're 122 meters each, which I thought would be pretty bang on for men's. No, I thought it'd be more. I thought I'd need at least 10 for a men's sweater, but I still have 9 skeins left. Plus this, maybe this is number 9, so at least 8 skeins left after this, and I still only have 2 sleeves left to do, so I have loads of this yarn left. And I've got the DK I've got the same yarn in a few other colours, so I'll have to come up with something smart to do with the rest of it. But yeah, it's a real, right now this is the thing I'm by far the most proud of knitting. I really am just really chuffed with myself. I'm really looking forward to giving it as a gift. I hope he wears it, because it would be a shame to not get worn, and he wears a lot of other knits. It's a shame we're coming into summer as well, because it won't be perfect time to wear it, but that's okay. And yeah, hopefully my needles will arrive today. And okay, I ordered 2 sets of needles from 2 different places in the hope that they would arrive. So yeah, hopefully they'll arrive today and I can get powering on with that and get it done in time. So yeah, that's my Strange Brew Marit mashup gift knit. And the end is in sight. We're almost there. Okay, 2 more things, 2 more whips. One is in my little sock bag. So, this is a kind of acquisition. Like, this is the only yarn I think of. Yeah, I think it's the only yarn I've had since the last episode. I have channeled all of my yarn buying into fabric buying, and I've had a lot of fabric delivered in the past few days. And I currently have like 4 dresses cut out on my table to sew up. So as much as I've not been buying yarn, I still have been buying craft supplies, just of a different craft. So on Instagram, so Easter has just passed. Easter was last weekend. I am not religious, but I guess I am. I once heard the term culturally Christian, and that nails it. Like, I've grown up obviously in a country where a lot of Christian norms are the norm. So like Easter feels like a very like family focused, and we get a whole weekend, like 2 extra days off, Friday, Monday off. So it feels like holiday, even though I'm not remotely religious. But any excuse to eat chocolate and have days off, I'll take. So a few weeks ago, I saw that a yarn dyer in the UK called Botanical Yarn was doing a mini eggs colourway, and mini eggs are maybe my favourite chocolate. They're amazing. They are an Easter only little chocolate, and it's basically, they come in like a little, if you're in the UK, you're going to laugh at me because I'm explaining what a mini egg is, but if you don't get a mini egg, they're like a little chocolate egg in this hard shell, and they come in these beautiful like soft colours. There's a pink and a yellow and a sort of stone white colour in every pack, and they're delicious. And then I saw somebody shared the post, because I wasn't following them, of there was an Easter egg mini skein and full sock skein set, and I bought it. Like, I just was like, I have to have this. I don't know why, I was just so excited about the concept of it, so I ordered a skein. In retrospect, I think I should have ordered the mini sets and done stripy socks, but it is what it is. The yarn is not the same colour as the pre-order. Like, it's very, very different to the picture, but it is much more similar to the colour of mini eggs. The other one, like the picture, had a lot, like a really like sunflower yellow and a real duck egg blue. The skein, okay, it's caked up so you can't see it as much, doesn't really have any blue at all, and the yellow is a real pale lemon yellow. This looks much more like a pack of mini eggs, but it doesn't look like the skein in the picture. So part of me is like, it's annoying. So I wanted the colour of the picture, but at the same time I wanted a mini egg skein, and I got a mini egg skein, so can't be mad about it. I cast this on Easter. It arrived. I cast it on the day it came. I think it came last Friday, and I cast it on immediately. I purposely, I've got socks to show. I haven't had a finished object. I'll get them in a minute. I was going to say, I rushed to get my socks finished so that I could, I rushed to get socks finished so I could get my needles free to cast these on, and I completely forgot to show the socks. It's not that exciting. They're just a shorty pair of socks, but maybe I'll grab them in a second if I can find them. I feel like they might be on my bedroom floor somewhere. But I cast those off so that I could cast this on. Ideally, I wanted to get the whole sock done on Easter weekend. I've not done that, but that's okay. So this is what I have. It's beautiful. Like, it really is an absolutely stunning colourway, and it does look like a mini egg. So as much as it's not quite what's advertised, it is in fact beautiful and fits the bill probably better than the advertised one. I've put in a, my favourite thing to do is that, throwing my socks. My favourite thing to knit is afterthought heels. I just like them. Like, I just think they're so fast. And usually if I'm knitting all, like a skein of all one colour without any like striping or anything, then I will, or no contrast heels and toes, I would do a gusset heel, but I just can't be bothered. So there's an afterthought. I don't think this is called an afterthought. I think this is a peasant heel when you put a yarn in. I always do my afterthought heels this way. You have to cut into anything and it's so easy. Like, it's super, super easy. You just pick up all the stitches, whip out the waist yarn and just knit the heel the same way you knit the toe. It is a 60 stitch here. I stole some markers off of it for a sweater, so I need to go back and put my markers back on for the second sock. And then a 65 row foot, and then I've just started the heel, the toe, sorry, there's like a decrease on either side. So I'll take these, we're going to the museum this afternoon, so I'll take these on the bus with me there, and maybe I'll get the toe finished today. And yeah, they're really fun, they're really cute. I'm looking forward to having them. And they were really fun to knit on, and I actually took them to the cinema. I took these and the grey sweater to the cinema, and then I thought the sweater was too long, so I started knitting on these, and I flew through them really. I got a lot done there, so I think I might look at taking socks to cinema knitting in the future, because I did find it quite meditative. And provided I'm at a good place, like I think I was just after the split, that's a perfect time to go, because you don't need to count any rounds. And yeah, they're really cute, they're lovely. These are my Easter socks. And I've ordered some yarn. That's yarn that might arrive today. The post is very late today. It's 12 o'clock. The post is usually been and gone. I'm glad I didn't wait for the post to film, because I would have been waiting a long time. What was I going to say? I ordered a sock. So I've ordered some yarn for socks, which I do not need. I was entirely enabled for taking to Greece. So I'll talk about that maybe at the end, because I've got a little bit of knitting planning to talk about. But I want to get this one, at least this one, off the needles by then. And I might just take the needles and then do the second one when I'm back, because I don't think with the gift knit due and my next whip, I want to be done to take to Greece. I don't think this is going to take priority. But yeah, so that's kind of my only acquisition. It's a very, very, it's a lovely yarn. It's a superwash, so we'll see how it holds up, and yeah, I like them a lot. Okay, there's one final whip, and it has been on and off the needles. Like, it's not off yet, but the whole thing's been done since last. This is why I've got nothing else to show. I mean, that's why I've got very little other things to show my other whips, because I've been working on this all the time. So 2 weekends ago, this has got mohair and alpaca, so my nose is just gonna start itching like mad. 2 weeks ago, Easter week, no, maybe it was the week before Easter, so yeah, like the week, I can't remember when it was, like around about 2 weeks ago. I don't know. I was doing, like I said, I've been doing quite a lot of sewing recently. I've done a lot of dresses. I've been sewing dresses like mad. And I really realised that what I was missing is like a plain black and a plain white sweater to wear over my dresses. I just keep going to reach for it. It doesn't exist. Like, I just don't have it. And I thought, okay, I just need to cast this on. I need to cast on a plain white sweater. And I had the yarn required with 2 different projects in mind. So one, like I had the mohair with a different yarn, and I had the alpaca with a different yarn. And then I was like, they were sitting together on my craft room floor and like in different areas as I was tidying, and I was like, wait, that could be a sweater. So I cast it on. So let me show it first. It's a raglan, it's top down, I've done the whole body, and I picked up a sleeve yesterday. So yeah, we're making some pretty significant progress. It's very fluffy. The fluff, you can kind of see the halo. Like, the halo is indicative of how fluffy this is. That's a pretty significant halo. So this is, it started as a no frills, but the yarn I'm using is on the floor. Here we go. Drops Alpaca in off-white and Drops Air in off-white. And Drops Alpaca is a DK weight yarn, so the DK and the mohair to get held together. I started off on a 4mm needle and it was such a dense fabric, and I changed to a 4.5mm needle, which meant that I was no longer on gauge for the no frills. The no frills is the 21 stitch gauge, and I think I had at this point 18 stitches. Yeah, I think 18 stitches, maybe 19 stitches, somewhere around there. So I did the short rows as pattern, and then I just knit the body until it fit. I was a bit worried at one point. I think what I should have, okay, if I was doing this again, what I would have done is calculated it better, done a proper gauge swatch, and then I would have cast on for the smallest size. I would have done a round of increases after the neckband, and then I would have knit up until the desired fit around the bust. There's a possibility, I think it's actually fine, I've tried it on, but I thought I was a little bit at risk of the yoke being too deep before I separated for sleeves. And I think it's worked out fine. I tried it on yesterday and it fits actually really well. But I was worried a little bit that I hadn't, like, the difference between the number of stitches I had after the neckband and the number of stitches I had to have here was more than I could increase in raglan stitches. And so I probably could have been a bit more mathematical about it and fixed it. But I didn't, basically. And then I knit it to the same length as my no frills, my navy one that I wear a lot. So it's basically a no frills at a different gauge, if I'm going to be honest. I picked up the first sleeve. I'm doing the decreases slightly less frequently. I think the no frills says, like, I don't know, maybe 6 rows, and I'm doing every 8 rows. And yeah, I got this little bit of sleeve done just yesterday. So actually, I think I should get through this pretty quick. Maybe I'll take this on the bus today. It's very chunky though, we'll see. I'm torn because I do think this sweater has a place in Greece. Like, I think I could wear this out there. We're taking cabin bags only, so we're going to be a little bit limited for space. And I do think this could be perfect for like the mornings and like traveling. However, it's an alpaca and mohair sweater, and it's like 25 degrees in Italy in Greece. So it might be too warm, but I think I'm just going to risk it because it goes so nicely with so many of my outfits. It goes really well. Like, I've got quite a lot of summer dresses, and I just think like it's going to be perfect over the top of them. And I think other than Greece, it's going to be really good layer for having here in the next couple of months before it gets really like summer warm. Like right now it's between usually like 10 and 15 degrees most days. You don't really want to wear a bulky coat, but a skirt or a dress and a sweater is perfect. So yeah, I'm so excited to have this done. Like, this is very much it's a no frills, and I think they're a lot of fun to knit, but it's also very, very, very much product knit. Like, I want the end thing, because I just really want to be able to wear it. I'll keep this here as that's the last of my whips. So yeah, Drops Air, Drops Alpaca is super, super fluffy. It's quite heavy, I will say. Like, the fabric is quite weighty for what it is, which is not really a surprise given I find alpaca is quite a heavy fibre. Like, it's got a lot of drape to it, but that also adds a bit of weight. So yeah, so those are all my whips. Let's see, a tiny little acquisitions. Oh yeah, I've got a few things to talk about acquisitions. The post hasn't come, so I think no acquisitions for this episode. Which is annoying because I wanted those 3.5mm needles to come today. But I've got 2 things to show which are not knitting, well, they're knitting but not yarn. The first is a new mug. I love a mug. I've got so many, like, I feel like a lot of people are the same, but I have so many like novelty mugs. I mentioned, was it last time, that when I went to the Perth Scottish Wool Producer Showcase, I got the train up with a handful of people, and one of them, Alison, her name's Alison, is the founder of Marit mag, which is the magazine, a crochet magazine. And and it's amazing. Like, it's being stocked everywhere. It's being stocked like by like Pearl Soho and like, I don't know, basically all over the world. They've got an amazing stock list. I'm not really a crocheter, but I was having a look at their website and they have some merchandise, and one of which is a mug, and I had to buy it. I don't know if this is going to be the right way around for the iPad, I'm not sure. Hopefully it flips. But it says cake and ball and Hank and skein. And I just love this. I don't have any knitting related mug. I've got a fabric one about buying too much fabric that I got as a gift. So yeah, there was a pink version and maybe a blue version, but I just got the black one, and it's the same colour on the inside as here, and I love it, and it's really cute. And it was very much like a little happy gift to myself, and it's got the Marit logo on the back, and I was very happy to support them because I think it's a really, really cool project, and it's a really interesting thing they're doing. And yeah, I think I'll keep it in mind. Like, I might in future get a copy, because I do think they have quite like, it's very fashionable crochet designs. They're a lot more modern than a lot of crochet designs I've come across. But yeah, no immediate desire to cast it on, but I'm really happy with my mug. The second thing is really out there, or not really out there, but was another craft thing that I bought, which I thought I'd share because I thought it was really cool when I came across them. I saw it on TikTok, because I did. And these are from a company called Pages Illustrations, like the name Page, P-A-I-G. And they're painting kits. And I've not even opened one, so maybe I should open one and show you. But I got two, and the goal is maybe tomorrow night, one day soon, hopefully this weekend, we're going to do this like a little date night, get a bottle of wine, and there's one for me and one for my boyfriend to paint. My suggestion was that he did the houseplant one, and I did this one because he has a houseplant that he really loves. But I showed it to him and he was like, oh, well, it was oranges, so maybe we'll do the other way around. And they're really cool. They come with, I've tried an open one, so maybe I should open one to show you. They came in the post. They were not particularly expensive. I think they were maybe £12 each. And they come with like they come with a little instruction booklet and a really nice paintbrush, all the paints you need, a little kit with all the paints you need. And what I was particularly excited about was that it comes with like a paint by numbers card. This is the houseplant one. It's very, very faint. And I think the booklet is quite, I forgot that pen, but it has a lot of these little cards things, I think, to stop it rattling around in there. There's a lot of really good tips in here, but what I particularly enjoyed is that there are a lot of videos on TikTok. She does a lot of videos, and on Instagram as well, I think she does a lot of videos of them showing you how to do various techniques. I'll just drop that paintbrush on the floor. I have to pick that up afterwards, I'll forget. But yeah, I just thought I'd share it. It's something a bit different, still quite crafty and fun, but not necessarily knitting related. I'm not a particularly, I find painting quite challenging. I don't find, I always say that I'm crafty and not arty, so I'm not particularly good at painting or drawing. But this seemed like a nice way of doing it, and I just thought I'd share. It's like a little indie business that I've enjoyed supporting. So yeah, that is about it in terms of acquisitions. And the last thing is just a little bit of knitting planning. There are a couple of things on my mind to knit soon that I'm hoping I'll have cast on by next time. The first is, what do I, this is obviously my biggest dilemma. As soon as we booked tickets to Athens, I was like, what do I take with my knitting? So we're there for a week, which is a long time. I mean, in knitting world, like, it's not a weekend, it's quite a long time to do a lot of knitting. But as I said, we're taking cabin bags, so we're pretty limited for space. And so my first thought was like, well, what am I gonna take for knitting? So I've decided, I think, is that the post? It was the post. My needles arrived. So I ordered them from Creabea Yarns in London. I got some chargoos. So I've got, they're not fixed, it's a shorty tip. And I got the 14 inch, and I also got the 8 inch. which I thought would be perfect. I think this should be fine to start the sleeve with, and I'm thinking once I start decreasing I might need these. Yay! So that's a real relief. That means I can get going with the sweater this afternoon. So what was I saying? Yes, knitting for the trip. So I need to make sure I take something which it's not too bulky, but also like I'll prioritise taking knitting over taking other things because it's knitting. So I have I got two plans. The first one is I was watching a friend to knit with, Leslie Friend. I just think she's lovely. Like I really enjoy I love her podcast. And I was watching hers yesterday, and she has made a couple of the Daily Pullover by Pearl Soho. And for some reason, I've seen it before and it's not tickled my fancy. And this time I saw it and I thought, yep, that's what I'm going to make. So it's a fingering weight sweater. It's a 24 stitch gauge. Theirs is made with linen quill. I will use the Kinross 4-ply that I showed last episode. And they're in 50 gram skeins. So I'm thinking like, maybe I'll take 3 of them. Yeah, 150 grams. That feels like a reasonable amount to get going with. And I'll swatch before I go, and that'll be ready to go. And it'll be a good dent into a fingering weight sweater. I am kind of torn because I've got so many things on the needles right now. I'd love to just power through some of my whips, but it's all too chunky. Like I can't take anything. I don't want to take a whole sweater with me. But the start of a sweater I can definitely take. And the second thing, I thought if I'm taking a really, like I want something smaller as well, and yeah, I like having more than one project because if my brain sometimes needs different like stimulation. So I was on Instagram the other day and I'm pretty sure her name, I always do this, I'm sure her name is Daniela, but I know it's Aniela. But her Instagram handle is Yelly's Wonders. She's a designer and a knitter, and she has a lot of amazing patterns. But she posted the other day a picture of socks she was working on, and she was using a strand of Arwetta and a strand of Crazy Zara Ball and striping them, and I thought that's what I need. Like that would be such a fun thing to take. So I'm going to take that as well as a sock project. So yeah, I'll have one of each. A sweater on the go and a project. That's my plan anyway. I might pack my bag and realise I don't have space for as much as I think I do, but that's currently my knitting plan. And the other knitting plan I have is knitting on this white sweater, which I'm currently knitting on. I realised that what I really need is a black sweater, and I have a black like polo neck, like a turtleneck sweater, and it kind of, I wore it last week. I had an outfit in mind and I wore it, and firstly the turtleneck is too warm for this time of year. I was getting far too hot, and also I just felt like it was so plasticky and acrylic-y, which never bothered me before as a knitter, but now I'm like, ugh, give me some natural fibres. So I do think there's definitely a space for a black sweater. And today, Thursday, the Dear Duomo sweater is being released by a designer. I cannot remember, I'll put it down below. And it is like the perfect sweater. Like it just looks absolutely stunning. Super simple. I think it's bottom up construction. It's a drop shoulder design, I think. I've not really looked into it. There aren't that many testers, so there was like a limited, I felt it was like a limited selection of projects to look through, but I gather it's more wool. Oh, okay, more post, but not the yarn, so still no acquisitions really since last time. I've completely forgotten where I was at, but I think I was saying black sweater, Dear Duomo. I think it's a DK weight sweater because a lot of the projects are a strand of fingering, a strand of mohair, so I'll keep an eye out for that. I think I want to make one that's not got mohair, but I need to decide on the yarn to use. I'm torn between a few. I might make it in Peruvian Highland wool from Filcolana, which I've not made a whole sweater in. I might make it in woolly knit merino because my other version is just held up so well and I really like knitting with it. And it's really well priced. So those are my options. I'll see when the pattern spec comes out later today and decide if that's what I want to cast on, but I've got a feeling it is. Because my wardrobe needs it. There's a space for it in my wardrobe for sure. So yeah, that's everything. Oh my goodness, I feel very flustered with the door going 10 times in the last 2 minutes. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed. As I said, the next time will be 3 weeks from now, which will be very strange, because the next time I'd normally be filming, I will in fact be in Greece. I'm so excited. I'm just really looking forward to it. It feels like a good time to go for a little break. And yeah, that's about it. If you enjoyed the video, it'd be great if you can like and subscribe. It always really interests me how much people liking the video increases the number of views it gets. So if you are stuck around to the end, I would really appreciate if you like the video with a little thumbs up. And yeah, I'll be back in 3 weeks. I'm no doubt with loads of knitting, because I already have so much content every 2 weeks. Can you imagine how much more? Oh god, I'm gonna have to try and make sure it's not like a 6 hour long video with how much knitting I'll have to show. So I put the oven on to make some lunch. It's gotten very loud. I'm gonna go make some lunch, and I'm off to the museum this afternoon to see an exhibition, and I'm gonna use my new needles to get started on this final Colorwork sleeve. And that's me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in a few weeks. Thanks for watching. Bye!